Right, so how do you, welcome again, sorry, how do we make the passive? So there's actually a formula. You will have noticed that to make the passive voice, the subject is either not here or is at the end. And actually it's showing that here we are going to need to put everything upside down a little bit. So I'm going to show you on my whiteboard. Right. Come here, whiteboard. Right. No, not like this. Right. Sorry, it's lagging a little bit. There we are. Okay, brilliant. Right, so here, as I said, we are going to do everything a little bit upside down. So instead of having the traditional subject plus verb plus objects sentence, we're going to just scrap this and we're going to have the object first. So, you know, when you're saying I'm eating the apple, you'd say the apple is eaten by me. So upside down sentence. So the apple, so object plus verb plus potentially the subject, but it's not necessary. So here the object will be, well, anything. And then the verb actually is going to be the verb être, so to be, plus a past participle. So remember, the past participle is the verb that we used in the perfect tense. You know, j'ai mangé, joué, the E accent, the one that if it's ER, it becomes E accent. If it's IR, it becomes I. If it's RE, it becomes you, right? That's the past participle. So I've talked to you a lot about it in the perfect and then in the pluperfect. The past participle is like when the verb is transformed with that E accent kind of thing. And here we're going to use it as well. So past participle, I'm going to write it PP. And then you're going to have to, I'll talk about this later. Okay, so here the object plus être in any tense works in any tense, so present, past, future, imperfect, pluperfect, whatever. And then the past participle and then potentially the subject if you want to. So here let's take the example of I eaten the apple. So the apple, la pomme, is eaten. Here est, the past participle manger, and then potentially par moi, meaning if I want to add that I've actually eaten the apple, by me. Okay, the apple is eaten by me. Here, if you remember your lesson on the perfect tense, you will know that every time the auxiliary was with être, we used to agree this with here, with the subject. Here we're going to do the same, even though la pomme is not the subject, it's the object, we're going to do the same. So here, who is being eaten is the apple. So apple here is, lots of drums, please, is feminine. Yeah. So the apple is feminine. So here, eaten is going to take an E to mark the feminine. Right. So if we have a look at some other examples, so here the car is stolen, or you know what, in the perfect tense, la voiture has been. So has, how do you say has been? A été, using the perfect tense, and then stolen, volé. Okay, so here, if you have a look, because you're doing the perfect tense, you have two past participle. Okay, past participle number 1 and past participle number 2, except that this one here exists because of the perfect, and this one here exists because of the passive. I am convinced that I'm getting you confused at the moment. I hope it's not the case. If you are confused, just let me know, drop me a message any moment and I'll try to help. So here another example would be les filles. Let's say in the future, the girls will be arrested. Okay, the girls will be arrested using the simple future. So you use the verb être for they, because les filles are they. In a simple future, that would be seront, and then arrêter. Okay, and here arrêter like this. Girls, plural, so you add an E and you add an S. Okay, les filles seront arrêtées. Another example, in the pluperfect, the postman had been sacked, for example, I don't know. Le facteur in the pluperfect had been would be avait. Remember, pluperfect is using the auxiliary and the imperfect plus the past participle. And then you need to use sacked in the past participle, so arrêté. Okay, so here remember you have the past participle number 1 for the perfect, and then you have the past participle number 2 for the passive. Right, it's like the rule is basically your object, so the victim of the verb, so the victim of the verb. Okay, up. The victim of the verb plus the verb être in any tense, basically any tense. So if it's in the present, you put être in the present. If your sentence is in the past, you put your verb être in the past, exactly as if you were doing it on its own, except that you will add the past participle of the verb you actually want to say. So if it's arrested, it will be the object plus être in any tense plus the word arrested. If it's eaten, it would be the object plus être in any tense plus eaten, manger, and all that jazz. Okay, that's like the formula is always going to be object plus être plus past participle. And then if the object is feminine or plural, you either add an E or an S. Okay, if that makes any sorts of sense. And yeah, basically, that's basically this. Can you add a subject? So can you say the apple has been eaten by a worm? Yes, you can. You can definitely add a subject to your sentence. You just add it at the end and you add by. So here, la pomme, pomme, et for you here, manger. Here adding the E because pomme is feminine, and then par, un ver, by a worm. Okay, you can add this. This is not necessary, it's not compulsory, but you can add it if you want. Okay, so that is basically how to form the passive voice, ladies and gentlemen. If you want to use it in a present tense, it looks good. It looks very good. If you don't feel comfortable enough to use it in different tenses, that's fine. Here again, you're supposed to use different tenses. You're supposed to use different people. But if you don't do it all at the same time, no one will actually say anything to you. So if you want to only use it for I and in the present tense, I have been eaten. I have been, I don't know, or whatever, like I have been stolen, I have been robbed, oh, pronunciation, I have been robbed, I have been cyberbullied, there you are, specific, I have been, I don't know, whatever is in the passive, you want to use present tense, je form, you can use it, it still looks good, and here again, you don't need to use all at the same time, although it would look very, very good, you don't actually need to. And that's it me for this lesson. Next lesson will be the last one. It's basically how can you avoid using the passive if you want to say the same information, but you're a bit confused about it. How to avoid using it. That's what we'll see in the next lesson.